Good day. Welcome to Putnam Talk Radio. I'm John Marino, and we are produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by people like Tompkins Mahopac Bank, Robeson Oil, the house that service built, by Lipolis Electric. Don't be left in the dark. Get Lipolis by White Plains Hospital, Hightower, Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard, not only in Westchester, but throughout the entire Hudson Valley. And Michael Labriola, landscape design and construction of Armonk. They operate up and down all through the Hudson Valley, giving you what you need as well, too. Here we are on Putnam Talk Radio, the Cup of Joe political show. We are joined by the county executive here in Putnam, Mary Ellen Odell. Mary Ellen Odell, welcome back to Putnam Talk Radio. It's been a challenging year, a challenging last couple of years, no doubt about that. Here we are, Thanksgiving about a week away. We've had a couple of weeks to process the election season in Putnam and around the region. Your thoughts 2 weeks after on what the people of Putnam County decided upon?
No surprises, really. No big surprises here in Putnam. I think Putnam voters have stayed true to their core values and where they look to selecting the person that's going to best represent their family needs and wants in a safe community and a community with good schools and, beautiful community. Actually, Putnam's, where the country begins, and it's very pretty here. So actually no surprises. It was an interesting year leading up to the final day, election day. Certainly a lot of twists and turns, but that's what a campaign is all about.
How much did COVID impact Election Day in Putnam, or the things that COVID made happen the last 2 years?
Well, COVID affected everything, right? I mean, just what we're doing right now is an example of what impact COVID has had on how we operate day to day or week to week, month to month, and certainly the year to year. You mentioned Thanksgiving, which is a good sort of, I think, a good starting point about where we are now as compared to where we were last year with COVID. Last year we were being really recommended to not even share Thanksgiving with our families. This year it's kind of a little bit out there, but thank God for the vaccines and thank God for, people being mindful of each other and respectful of their surroundings so that we can put this pandemic for once and for all behind us. So as far as the election goes this year, I think it went back to a little bit closer than to where it always was for an election year. You could knock on doors. The candidates were telling me they were being greeted by homeowners who were willing to shake their hand and spend some time and talk to them, where the year prior to that did not happen. Election day itself, the turnout was good. Voters came out to express their opinions and their beliefs and exercise their right to vote in the democratic society that we have, that we're so proud of here. And I think the only difference was the mask mandates. People were mandated to wear the masks into the polling place.
You talk about the personal touch for Election Day, that this year we could do that again. How important is the personal touch, knocking on doors, shaking hands when you campaign? And I was just out on Long Island recently in the same area, on Konkoma area, twice, a week before Election Day, where I didn't see many signs up. I was there the day after Election Day, and Veterans Highway was flooded for signs for the district attorney's race, which the Republican surprised the Democrat in that race in Suffolk County. It's great to see signs that say, vote for me, but as a voter, it's probably even better that you shake my hand and tell me what you're all about.
And they say, people want to hear you ask for their vote. They want to hear the candidate ask the individual to vote for me. That's something that has been kind of universal when you're out there campaigning. And people do appreciate that personal touch. We're back. We are back to that now. And I know that the sheriff-elect, I think his number was 7,000. He knocked on 7,000 doors in Putnam County.
Sheriff-elect McConville.
Correct, Kevin McConnell. And I think that reflected on the numbers this year, that personal touch really does mean something.
Mm-hmm. With vaccines, where are we now with vaccines? We have the boosters out there. I'm going to go get mine tomorrow. I just turned 65 a few days ago, and I promised myself, as soon as you do that, go get an appointment and go get it done. So I'll do that tomorrow. Where do we stand with vaccines around the county now? Do we have what we might consider enough people vaccinated to have a form of herd immunity at least?
Well, first of all, let me say happy birthday to
Thank
you. I'm a Libra, so you must be a Virgo.
I'm a Scorpio.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Scorpio.
you're a Scorpio.
Actually,
Okay.
yeah. Right in the middle, November 14th.
November 14th. My daughter Hope is the 18th tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I know a number of people in this 3-week period here. Matter of fact, you just reminded me, my best friend from high school, his birthday is today, and I got to text him down in Florida and say, welcome to the 65 Club.
Oh, so yeah. Well, congratulations on that for sure.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'll throw this
playing
one out
hockey
there.
at the age of 65, matter of fact, too.
Are you?
He is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
Oh,
I got nobody to play with anymore, so I don't. But in Florida, he rounded up all the Northeasterners down. The first thing he did when he moved down there in the Jacksonville area was go find an ice rink where he could play. He found enough people from up this way who play hockey, and he put a league together down there. Good for him.
He's a doer. He's a doer. Jacksonville's a nice area down there.
Yeah.
I do like that area of Florida.
Ponte Vedra Beach. That's where he is, outside Jacksonville.
Ponte Vedra.
Yeah, Ponte Vedra. Yeah.
Ponte Vedra. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I
lovely.
go with the Latin pronunciation being
Ponte
Italian,
Vedra.
like Ponte Vedra Beach.
Ponte Vedra. Lots of history down there. It's a really nice area. It's not that, it's a really pretty part of Florida. Florida's, the new New York, right? Although they don't like to hear
exactly.
that.
There are no Southerners in Florida.
They don't like the invasion, I think, so much of all the New Yorkers.
Half my family is down there too, dispersed around the entire state. So there are no Southerners in Florida, all Northerners from where.
Yeah, exactly. I think half my family will be down there eventually. Anyway, I do want to give a shout out, happy birthday though, to Libby Pataki, the former First Lady of New York State. Today is Libby's birthday too. Libby was our tourism director here for some time. She was a real gem, lovely woman, and of course, Governor Pataki.
They're in Garrison, correct? The
wonderful. Yeah, they're on that side. Sure. Yep. They're still. Yep. They're over there.
They're on the other side of the county in Garrison. The Pataki stayed on the Hudson side because they came from Peekskill, walked a few blocks, wound up in Putnam County, and landed in Garrison. Right.
Yeah. Beautiful area, beautiful home over there, and they're just terrific people.
Mm-hmm. Really Do we need a county-wide vaccine mandate to settle things?
Well, let me tell you about where we're at for vaccines. So yes, in Putnam, we've reached the threshold for herd immunity. Out of the gate, our numbers were really high, remembering that Putnam County has a very high senior population. We're probably trending the highest in senior population in New York State. So our seniors were very anxious to get life back to where it was, and we lost a lot of our seniors, and our prominent seniors. We lost track of them, only to find out that in the early stages of COVID, when everything was so intense, that they did pass from the COVID. So a lot of our seniors have been vaccinated. Probably 90 percentile and up of those who are attending our nutrition friendship centers are vaccinated. There are some that have medical reasons that can't. That's mostly the reason why they're not. So we're winding down our pods here. We'll have a pod tomorrow for the 5 to 12-year-old kids. And then the Moderna and Pfizer boosters will be tomorrow. And then we have a few, I think 2 or 3 more in December. So we should have everybody who's willing to get the booster from the health department, that will be available to them. And then there's tons of vaccines. If you go to a CVS or a Rite Aid, even your own physician has an ample supply of the vaccines. Yesterday I was reading, I thought it was interesting. They're talking about FDA approval for the COVID pill now. So, these vaccines, we may be in the waning days of vaccinations against COVID.
We're making COVID protection as simple as possible, simpler, we hope. Are there public locations around Putnam that we can go to for vaccine? You talked about the pods.
Yeah, tomorrow the pod is at the Putnam Plaza located on Route 6 in Carmel. You can go up on the county website and you can register. They'll even take you in a walk-in and register you right there. That's a requirement by New York State that everyone who gets the vaccine or the booster gets registered. So that's our pod for closing up the year. That will be the location for that. And then, I ran into a Rite Aid last night in the same plaza, and they told me, the pharmacist there told me that they had vaccinated 20 individuals with the booster themselves yesterday, on top of everything else that they have to do. So people are getting the vaccine in Putnam, and some are declining the opportunity, and that's their decision.
2 years now, just about into COVID-style education. How has Putnam adapted to that?
Oh, it was a struggle for the schools in the beginning with the New York State handing different messages down from the morning to the afternoon. By the end of the day, there was a different protocol or mandate to be followed. It was very confusing for everyone involved, for the superintendents, for the teachers, and for the students and their families. And Putnam County Health Department, we were here to try to provide to be a resource for information, to guide them to where they could find out what the current and most recent mandate and protocols would be. The schools now have reopened, and sports are back to normal. As a matter of fact, the Carmel Rams are going to be playing in playoffs tomorrow at Mayapack High School. I think they're playing Christian Brothers Academy. I'm a Ram myself, so we're proud about that. So they'll be doing that this Saturday, and the stands are full, and kids all seem to be really happy to be, experiencing the school experience that the previous senior classes missed, which is really, really sad.
And we have Rams colors behind us too, in blue. Right?
I'm wearing my Ram blue today, actually.
And you have Tom Feary working in your office, brother.
Tom, a Ram.
The greatest football player in Carmel Rams history, Kevin Feary.
Basketball.
He played football, basketball, Kevin played football, basketball, baseball. Tom was basketball, right?
Probably a 3-letter, right? But basketball was his
main sport. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
And he's continuing to hit some 3-pointers here in the office.
Yeah, I can still hit him at the age of 65. Maybe we'll have a shootout one day.
That would be fun.
And Kevin, like I told Tom years back, when Kevin was working out for his shot at the NFL, I caught a couple of punts from Kevin at Carmel High when I came up to scout a White Plains Carmel game before broadcast in 1995. I did some scouting of the Carmel team, being the White Plains broadcaster, to know what I might be talking about a few days down the road. And Kevin was there practicing, and I caught a couple of punts from him at that time, 1995. Wow. That was an experience, to catch a guy who could kick NFL style and to see that ball spin and come down on you and make the catch. So
yeah,
always remember
memorable.
That. Yep. Kevin was a 3-sport star 30 years ago in the early 90s, baseball, basketball, football at Carmel High School, went on, had a great college career, and spent some time in the NFL with the Giants and the Carolina Panthers too. So, and very great athletic tradition all around Putnam County, Carmel, Mayapack, Haldane, all the other schools, Brewster, also Putnam Valley High School. Putnam Valley Tigers blue behind us here too, and we got orange for all the other Tiger squads behind us. Our Sharc Creative logo behind us for all the other, Tigers and orange outfitted squads around the Hudson Valley too. Here we are with Mary Ellen Odell, Putnam County Executive, Putnam Talk Radio. John Marino along with you. County Executive Odell, until this story made big news, Westchester County Airport was receiving, in the dead of night, hundreds of undocumented illegal children and young adults being flown up by Department of Homeland Security, apparently from down in Texas, where they had crossed the border, and they were being shuttled around the tri-state area. Places around Westchester, places around the Hudson Valley, Newburgh we know of, Bridgeport, Danbury, Connecticut, down the New Jersey Turnpike, down the Thomas Edison rest area in Woodbridge, where cars and vans would show up to pick some of them up and take them to their next destination point. Catholic religious outpost home in Syosset, Nassau County on Long Island, took a number of people in. Were any of these illegal undocumented immigrants brought to Putnam County that you are aware of?
No, not that I have been made aware of at all. We're a little different of a county, right? We don't have an urban center. We don't have a city. So it would be less likely that if they were trying to do it under the cover of night, it would be less likely that they'd have success doing that here in Putnam County, where it would probably be easier to accomplish in, an urban setting. It's sad across the board, these families, what they've had to go through, and the fact that, we're supposed to be the better life, but it's supposed to happen in the right way, in the way that everyone else, his family came to this country, and that's following process and protocol. So, it's unfortunate, but it's a reality that this is what we're facing right now with open borders.
Do we want to do what we have to need to do to help people who come here undocumented to this country, and yet obviously stay within the realms of doing things the right way and the legal way, and that maybe this is the best way for those who come here to understand they do have to follow the process like your family did, like my family did a century ago? They came here, and people in my family say, well, our grandparents, aunts, uncles, et cetera, great aunts, great uncles did things the right way. They came here, they got on a ship, they followed the process, took them a while, but here we all are 100 years later today.
Yeah, we've been having this discussion for years, even prior to, the recent, we'll say, the situations between Haiti, the country of Haiti, with those families coming to the United States through the open Mexican border, and then the Afghan families who were fleeing the Taliban. Those are extreme circumstances. Those are examples of why, what America is about, is being able to help those people. But again, it has to be done in the right way, which is there is a process. And, we've said this 100 times in 100 different ways in the last year with COVID, how important process is. Process is very important, whether you're running a government, a business, a corporation, a family. You have to follow process in order to actually do it effectively and safely, and deliver a good message or a good product, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And the process is broken. There's absolutely no question about it. The process here about the open borders is broken. It's dangerous. It's not providing, I think, anyone with what we should be, is saying, we welcome you, we want to give you the opportunity, but not under these circumstances. It's putting everyone in a very bad position.
Sodom Road, that bridge project in Southeast, when will that be done, completed, and maybe motorists don't have to take that detour again?
Yeah.
Finally.
I mean, unfortunately, detours are a fact of life, right?
Right.
And safe roads are very important. And so Sodom Road, and of course, with everything going on, had its delays. Every project, every infrastructure project will have, some problems, but that's due to open in the next couple of months. We're ready.
How much will the new infrastructure bill passed by Congress, signed now by the president, make a difference potentially in Putnam County?
Well, we're always, and have traditionally and historically always, looked at any pockets of money that the FTA, federal transportation groups or entities, have available to us, and we're always shovel ready for them. We've earmarked and identified a couple of projects that we'd like to see completed with the federal dollars. Again, we are not an urban center. We don't, we have two interstates, the Taconic and 684 and 84 that run through us, that we'd like to see the state throw some money their way, because those roads they're in desperate need of repair and safety improvements. Our town and county and local roads here, we're continuing to work together to partner to bring all the dollars in and to make the safe, smooth roads, we call them, that are really what our seniors and the kids, particularly in the cars, that, we find them to be a priority item.
Now, if I lived in Beekman on a back road, for example, and I had a problem there and I couldn't get out, I mean, to me, that's my New York State Thruway. I want that fixed.
Yeah, I mean, 684, 84, they're just in horrendous shape. Understanding, right, we have harsh winters.
Right.
But I think the lack of attention to them is finally caught up to us, where you have craters in the road, or people are snapping their axles, and
right.
Poor seniors
and spots
driving
up
around.
Also too in Patterson.
Yeah,
you have that happening too. Yeah,
a whole bunch of spots. I think the state's been very neglectful when it comes down to earmarking dollars for for road and bridge and culvert improvements. And I'm hopeful that they're going to switch that up now and start putting the money into the roads and not into big signs on roads with people's names all over them, and start putting the money where the people need it the
Right.
most.
We don't need signs. We need our roads fixed.
Yeah, we definitely need our roads fixed. And, we're starting to see some of the projects started late, but they're winding down because we're in that season now where, you just can't have the blacktop plants are shutting down. So I'm hoping we're going to open up with a vibrant spring and get some more dollars in here to get the state roads that are in Putnam County, get them improved.
Do you feel like you have to fight other areas of the state to get some of that money for roads, for improvements, not only infrastructure wise, but pretty much with everything around Putnam County? Is it a competition from region to region across this state?
Well, there's an organization called NIMTIC, New York Metropolitan Transportation Council, of which every member is an equal voting member. Putnam is included in that. So that's the Port Authority for New Jersey and New York, for all of the counties, New York State Thruway. So that board, they have what they call a TIP build, which is the transportation infrastructure projects for the region. And everyone votes and approves each other's asks and their priorities. And if a project doesn't progress, the money will move around to someone who is ready. It's a very cooperative, collaborative group. It's one that is very productive and does get the money out there to the projects that need it with the plan. And that's always the critical piece to it, right? You can throw money around, but it really can be most responsibly spent when there's a plan attached to it. So NIMTIC is a great venue for those transportation projects. So no, there's no competition there. Competing against each other isn't always effective. Working together collaboratively is always the way that I have felt we would always get more things done. Ed Day, Rockland County, George Latimer, Westchester, Mark Molinaro, Dutchess, Steve Newhouse in Orange. Those are just Pat Ryan. Those are just examples of how we work together during COVID on a daily basis, sharing resources and ideas and frustrations and, trying to work as a block. And so you take that collaboration when you're as a county executive and you use it to your advantage. For your
you
people,
work together around the
constituents.
lower and mid Hudson Valley with all the other counties, up through Dutchess, up through Sullivan, like you mentioned. And this region here became an epicenter of relocation during the height and heart of COVID. People who came from Manhattan, from New York City, from other places around the tri-state area and other regions of this country too. They came to Putnam. They came to the Hudson Valley. Some are going back. Some may go back eventually. Most are staying here in Putnam and around the Hudson Valley. How does new development account for that, knowing that we have to make a little more space, a little more room to fit everybody in now?
Well, Putnam's watershed, right? So everything that we do here as far as build out is dictated by the New York City watershed regulations. We're at building saturation right now for residential. There could be some takedowns and tear downs perhaps in the future, but there's really very little room left for residential growth. There's some, but not a heck of a lot. I think a lot of the folks that you're talking about will probably maintain a second home here. Maybe they'll go back to the city now that the city's opening and, they have their responsibilities and their work and their schools for their children or whatever, their families down the city. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of a second home opportunity here in Putnam County. We certainly see it over in the western part of the county. And we talked about earlier about the Garrison, Phillipstown area, because we did see an awful lot of that right after 9/11. You saw a lot of families leaving New York City, some for a second home or some on a permanent basis, with the feeling about what, the precariousness of the safety of New York post 9/11. So you're seeing maybe a little bit of that too with COVID. And I think once people get here and they realize that, you're an hour train ride away to New York City, and you have your safe streets, and you have your safe and good schools here, and quality of life for our seniors. And, don't forget about our veterans and how many veterans we have living and first responders in Putnam County. So, for individuals who embrace those ideas, this is a safe haven.
Mm-hmm. And there's so much open space around Putnam that continues to be preserved too.
Yes, correct. We have a lot of land trusts. The land trusts have done a great job here over the years in preserving some critical spaces, giving everyone that opportunity to outdoor recreate, which was so important during COVID. I mean, our golf course here in Putnam County, the Putnam County Golf Course, did an incredible amount of rounds in that COVID year, which really it was a revenue driver, but I think it was also a mental health stabilizer too for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Now, here we are towards the end of November and final third of the fall of the autumn, and we're heading to the holidays. Now, what's coming up that might be special in Putnam during the holidays? And oh, by the way, how important is it to shop locally during the holidays? We might pay an extra $1 or $2 for something, but we will help keep our friends in business.
Yeah, our administration's been a big proponent about Main Street economy. I'm a kid here I was a kid here, grew up, and I know how important Main Street economy was because they were the folks who sponsored our baseball, softball uniforms, or, all of the programs for youth, and they're always there for helping our veterans. So you've got to support your Main Street economy, and particularly in Putnam County, because again, we're not an urban county. We rely on Main Street for our sales tax revenue. That's what keeps us going. And that's why I fought so hard to get the collection of internet sales tax back to Putnam County, because if you're buying on the internet, you're paying your sales tax, but it was staying out where it was paid. And we demanded that we get it back here. It was a lot of confusion. A lot of politicians in Albany tried to say it was a new tax, and they just didn't understand. They just didn't want tax associated with their name because, that's how retail politics is played instead of, really actually paying attention to the issue. So, that leveled the playing field. Getting the internet sales tax collection here helps Main Street because people make a decision. I can go right down the street and buy something and support for all the right reasons, the reasons that I mentioned. Or, if I have to order on the internet, I will, but know that my community is going to benefit from the sales tax. So Main Street here in the holiday season coming up, there's going to be the Holiday on the Lake is coming back. That's a 25 plus year festival that kicks off the holiday season. The properties, the Tilly Foster Farm and Educational Institute, and the Putnam County Golf Course, which I consider our gateway venues, hospitality venues, have breakfast with Santa and lots of dinners and holiday gatherings, and New Year's Eve kickoff. I think this year, kicking off the new year, will both be at both of those venues. And I know that this is probably the most exciting New Year we've had in a long time. I think everyone's just ready for a new year.
Can we go to the county website to get more information about all those events?
Yes, please do. That would be putnamcounty.ny.gov. And then you can look for the tourism link on that page.
I'm going to give you a good example of someone I spoke to last night right across the way in Orange County who lives in New Windsor, right on the Vails Gate border. And she says, no more Macy's or J.C. Penney's this holiday season. Matter of fact, she started this right now. No more big box stores for her shopping for the foreseeable future. She's driving around Orange, Putnam, Dutchess, and Ulster County, spending her money totally locally because she feels this is the way to get it done, the way to do it at mom and pop shop. She's spending her money and she wants to pump into whatever she can to the local economy. And I think that's the best way to go.
That really is that's very inspirational to hear that people are actually recognizing that. And then also taking into consideration how the COVID pandemic impacted our restaurants and delicatessens and, all of those. They took such a tremendous hit. So that's a very thoughtful of that woman. And certainly she's right there with the holiday spirit of giving.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's somebody who grew up in Washington Heights in Manhattan, but she's a real Hudson Valleyer now. And she loves the region and will do anything she can to help support the region. And I think for all of us, that's the way to go.
Well, that's New Yorkers, isn't it? Whether
That's
you're
New
from
York,
Manhattan or whether you're from Hudson Valley or Buffalo, New York. Once a New
Exactly.
Yorker,
Right.
always a New Yorker.
And we always stay local as much as we can.
Right.
Right. Mary Ellen Odell, Putnam County Executive here on Putnam Talk Radio. County Executive Odell, we thank you for joining us. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Well, thank you. I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Certainly a lot to be grateful for. And as we go into the holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
And a happy holiday to you, yours, and everybody there in the governmental offices around Putnam County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Mary Ellen Odell here on Putnam Talk Radio. I'm John Marino. We are produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by Tompkins Mahopac Bank. Also by Lipolis Electric. Don't be left in the dark. Get Lipolis by Robeson Oil, the house that Service built. Also by Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard. All the way through, up and down the Hudson Valley, by White Plains Hospital, and by Michael Labriola Landscape Design and Construction of our month. They work all through the Hudson Valley as well, too. Catch all of our Putnam, Orange, Rockland, Dutchess, Westchester, and Fairfield County talk radio programming on our YouTube channel, Sharc Creative YouTube.